Well, I'll tell you this. I met a guy over in Portland, and it's funny because he and I were talking yesterday, and I met him back in 2022, I believe. It's when I really started consulting companies, and he had a question on a Facebook group, and really the question was, he had an employee that was a great employee. He's been working for him for years, paid him well. And the guy came to him and basically just said, look, I got another job, and he quit. And that was the end of it. And he was asking me, or he's asking somebody on there, like, how do I deal with this? Um, and so I reached out to him and I was like, I think I can help you. And so we had a good talk. And after we talked quite a bit, this isn't your problem, Jeff. Okay. I'm sure it's not. I'm just telling you, I said to him, I said, 90% of the time when guys leave like that, it's our fault as businessmen. It's, we didn't share with them our vision. Most of the time, these guys need to know that you as an entrepreneur have a vision. Something that they can hang their hat on and follow. And a lot of these guys that are like owner operators that are out in the field and cutting it up with their guys and just, having a good time, they're the ones that lose guys, because eventually the guys are like, dude, I don't see you going anywhere. And I think this is mostly on a subconscious level, right? But so I was telling him, I'm like, dude, you have to tell your employees what your vision is, like where you're going. And then he struggled not working on the job sites, right? Like, because he thought that by him not working on the job sites, his guys would get jealous. And I was like, it's absolutely the opposite. Your guys want to see that you're not on the job sites, because then they feel like you're becoming successful, right? So they take pride in that. And I think the one thing I reminded him of, and I have to remind myself of, most of your employees aren't wired to be entrepreneurs. And I think a lot of us treat our employees like they're entrepreneurs because we're entrepreneurs. Yeah. And that stresses them out, because they don't want to be a business owner. If they did, they'd own their own freaking business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so one of the things, I think one of the biggest hurdles that landscape owners or any owner of a business has is to treat their employees like employees, not like business owners. And I'm telling you guys, I have a problem with that. My assistant, she's my wife's best friend. And I know she complains to my wife a lot because I treat her like a business owner. But I told her when she came to work for me, I was like, dude, I'm not going to call you all the time. I'm not going to check up on you. I expect you to do your job, and that's it. And she knows that I'm a very difficult person to work for because I don't have time to babysit her. Likewise, Kevin, the big infamous Kevin, the awesome guy, right? He basically runs my company, and I'm blessed with that. But our guys out in the field, they got to be treated like employees. You can't like one guy over in Missouri, another guy that I talked to, he got this guy that he was working with, and he kept just giving him raises and raises and raises, and finally the kid got a big head and quit. And he's like, why did he quit? And I said, you paid him too much.
You're going to have to explain that. What does that mean? You paid him too much. He couldn't
mentally handle it. He wasn't prepared to make that kind of money that fast. And there's a theory, I'll call it a theory, I don't believe it's a theory at all, that it's called the 10% rule. And the rule says that if you get 10% above or below what you believe you're worth, your subconscious will go into corrective behavior to get you back to where you believe that you should be. Now, if you believe that theory, which I do, I've seen it at work in my life and everybody's life around me. If you believe that theory, that is exactly what happened to this kid. And when I explained that to him, he was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I could see that. Because what was going on is the kid was going out, and he found out that he was going around town and he was talking about how much money he was making. He went out and bought a new truck, and then he just got too big for his britches and he quit. And really what it was is he couldn't handle making that much money because he didn't go slow enough and ease him into it. And just on a subconscious level, he didn't believe he was worth what he was making. So he had to do something get him back.
Do you think it's the money, or do you think it is with more money comes more responsibility?
Yeah.
Because adding more responsibility before you're ready is also a lot of pressure. And the risk of failure increases.
Yeah, that could be true. And I have seen that happen to me over the years as well. Yes. But I think in this instance, I do think it was the money.